My father was a carpenter, built houses. So I had been looking at blueprints from the time I was 10 years old. So I'd always had this ambition to be a construction manager. I always been looking at the big picture. So when I'm on a job, I always look at the foundations and how things are built and put together, and how can we do something differently. Even as a safety person, I look at how can we do it better, or how can we do it safer or easier, or just in a way that's going to help the next crew that's coming in to make it a little easier. Even as simple as, okay, they've got to be able to do preventative maintenance on this when we get done putting it in. So I look at those things, even to the point of when I've got downtime, I'll look through the blueprints on the job. We've had some instances on projects where I've got, the steel erectors putting steel in, and they got the floor going in, machinery needs to come in and has to get put in prior to the building being even completed yet. But yet there's structure has to be finished, and then you have the mechanical that has to go in and the electrical that has to go in, but you have this machine sitting right in the middle of the floor, and you have piping and things that have to go in above that, but you can't get to it because the machinery is there, and you can't move it because this thing is so large. That's why it's there in the first place. But then for preventative maintenance, you still can't get to it because there's no way to get there. So it's one of those things that needed to be addressed way back in the design stages. And this is stuff that I'd been looking at, for years before even this program came up. And I had been talking with my boss about it, is like, how can we talk to these engineers prior to this? Even with the contractors on site, the contract management on site, how do we get to talk to these people before this? Who is doing the oversight on these to make sure that this is getting talked about? And I just happened to run across the UAB program I can't remember if it was online, in the Professional Safety magazine. It was just ironic that this would happen to be going on. I had this instance going on when I discovered this program, and I called my boss and said, "You're not going to believe this." and it was just a very opportune moment that that this came up, and that the emphasis was on prevention through design. That we're looking at these concepts prior, getting in with the engineers and the architects prior to getting this approved for building, approved for construction, to make sure that this stuff is going in, and that there's a way to do preventative maintenance and to get it erected and installed, before that, things get done. So it was completely, absolutely, all totally online. That was the biggest thing. Every other program I looked at was not. You either had to go there there wasn't anything local for me. I'm in the middle of the U.S. I live in Indiana, and Indiana as a whole has nothing close. The biggest thing also that caught me is that it's an engineering degree. It's not a safety management master's. Everything else in safety management master's programs were the same thing regurgitated that I had already taken, and it was nothing new. It wasn't anything that I hadn't already learned. I wanted something more, and I was to the point of trying to create my own program, through a liberal arts master's, basically pulling my own classes together of what I felt I needed to get what I wanted out of a master's program. And when this came up, it was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And then being completely online, and it could be done in 18 months instead of 4 years, or however long it was going to be. It was exactly great. And my office even was like, yes, this is something that we're looking to offer as another service for our company. A lot of people look at, oh, you have a master's in safety, and they see the same thing. Oh, well, it's just occupational health, or it's public safety, or it's safety management, and they realize, oh, you just have more information on top of what you already learned, your bachelor's degree. For some reason, engineering is the trigger word. They realize that, oh, you have an expertise in something. Safety engineering is exactly what it's becoming, is safety engineering. That's what we're having to learn, and that's what I think safety is moving towards, especially when you're getting into prevention through design. I think safety is evolving into that type of a program. I would love to see a bachelor's degree move into something to that effect in the School of Engineering somewhere. I mean, that's what we're having to move into, especially with fall protection and different elements of safety itself, because a lot of these companies, that's what they specialize in, is developing fall protection. So, I mean, you're looking at engineering and walking working surfaces. So you're having to marry the two. And with engineering, they are starting, structural engineering, mechanical engineering, they are starting to introduce elements of safety because they have to. Especially for architects also, they have to start pulling those elements into it so that it gives them an idea of what we're looking for from them too, and what we're asking them to do when we come on these projects, especially like here in Chicago with some of these tall buildings. There's certain things that have to be in place, when they get up higher and higher and higher, that you don't have too often when you're on the ground, but you get up in the air a little bit and things change. I love the fact that with my job, because I'm on site a lot, when I have really good internet, I can get online while I'm at work and check and see what I'm doing, and check the discussion boards, see what my other peers and everyone is saying. If I have a question, if I have a need, I can ask my other classmates, and it works out great. The best thing about this master's program is, we're all students, but we're also all working adults and in different industries. And you have a real vast knowledge base that, yeah, we all run into the same things, walking working surfaces, fall protection, we're all covering the same things from different industries. So something that you are running into, somebody else may have already run into, and they have another way of doing it, or they may have an idea that would work for you. So you can throw that out there to them. You have the discussion boards that we have online. They can get pretty heated sometimes, just because everybody has different opinions, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled. So we get some really interesting conversations going. It's changed how I look at each project I go to. I may not realize it right away, but I guess subconsciously look at each job a little bit differently. It may not be something that I am currently seeing in class right now. It may have been a past class that, oh, hey, I see that this is what they were talking about, or, oh, that's what so-and-so was saying about in another class, and now I see what they were talking about, or that I can use in another one, or as an example, and try to remember some of the different things that come up, or that, hey, this would be a good example for so-and-so. Just different things that can be used for learning tools, I guess would be a good term for it. Oh boy. I've had people ask me about the UAB program. In fact, at the expo, I've had some friends of mine that are here ask me about the Masters in Engineering program. and I've mentioned it to them, and I have got several friends that are good candidates for the program. A few of them got scared at the word engineering because of, you think of engineering, you think of math, and that's not the issue. But there are some people that it's not a right program for. But I do encourage everyone to look at it. The University of Alabama, Birmingham, I think has been an excellent starting point for this program. Dr. Bedez has been just a lightning force for this whole thing, and it's just been fantastic.